different stories coming out from the teenagers. One of the young men himself spoke out about it, claiming they had begged Nolan to get on the boat, and that he wouldn't. Then there's
Yo, man, it's your boy Nevertheless, man. We back in the banger, man. So look, this video is talking about Nolan Wells or something like that, and how he was, you feel me, sadly. But Poetic Flacco gotta tell us something, man. Let's go and get into it.
Judge Mathis just surgically broke down why you are a dummy if you don't believe that Nolan Wells was murdered in cold blood. After all the evidence that have came out, if you still believe that Nolan Wells accidentally drowned, there's something wrong with you. And I don't know what it is. You got to figure it out. He broke down two crucial pieces of information: the bruise that was found on the back of Nolan Wells' head, and then the audio from the boat.
Is that Judge Mathis?
Second autopsy that was done on Nolan Wells.
Yes, I think when we last spoke, we were awaiting the forensic autopsy because the original autopsy performed by the county examiner, we just weren't convinced. It would be independent, quite frankly, because we weren't getting enough information from law enforcement. And so the forensic autopsy came back. And lo and behold, even though they're trying to downplay it, and I understand Ben Crump and NAACP and others don't want to try and jump to conclusion or step too far out, but the forensic autopsy showed that there was what they call discoloration. No, I call them bruises in the back of the head, appearing that someone has had their hand pressed at the back of their head, at the back of Nolan's head. That's concerning to me.
And what's even more concerning is when the autopsy sent over their notes to the independent autopsy that they took Nolan Wells' body to, they had notes. And from these set of notes, they'll figure out which bruises, which cuts was caused by the original autopsy, so they know to ignore it. When they checked their notes, the original autopsy failed to reveal there was a bruise at the back of Nolan Wells' head. The independent autopsy, they found the bruise and they reported it. But here's the thing though, we still don't have Nolan Wells' cause of death yet, because for it to be drowning, the lungs got to be waterlogged. Well, the original autopsy never sent over the lungs. Well, the original autopsy did theirs first. So if you did yours first, wouldn't you have the opportunity to run all the tests and do everything you got to do with the lungs before you sent over the body? Well, they never sent the lungs with the body. So the independent autopsy was unable to determine the cause of death. It was inconclusive.
You've had different stories coming out from the teenagers. One of the young men himself spoke out about it, claiming they had begged Nolan to get on the boat, and that he wouldn't. Then there's the woman that he's supposed to have stayed back with, I think her name Katie or something. Well, he was supposed to have stayed back with Katie. That was their story. However, Katie's friend says that Katie hasn't, she saw him only in passing on the island, didn't stay with him, and Katie isn't saying anything at all.
That's an element that I also missed as well regarding the friend. Now, I think the friend he's talking about is Katie's sister. The older sister is kind of downplaying to the extent in which Katie and Nolan Wells was hanging out. But the Katie portion of this, which we have to cover because the Katie portion like directly debunks the friend's story, right? They claim that Katie will be their alibi, that Katie saw them leave without Nolan. Katie says, no, I didn't. The last time I seen Nolan was when y'all was calling him over. Right?
That's crazy.
So we're being put in a position where we got to look at a bruise in the back of his head, and that bruise could be anything, right? That bruise could be something that Nolan Wells already had. That could have been something where somebody like knocked Nolan Wells unconscious. Yo, we just seen a video where another man just got arrested for murder, where he knocked out a man and then threw him in the water while the man was unconscious. Was that bruise in the back of Nolan Wells' head a bruise from him being knocked unconscious, then they threw him in the water too? Who knows? But we're being put in a position that I think is very unfair. It's very unfair, where we're being asked to ignore bruises on the body, autopsies, like damn near being sabotaged because the lungs were not sent over and the throat was not sent over. The audio where we're hearing people talk about Nolan being dead. The phone being with the friend. We're asked to ignore every red sign there is and be, I guess, as optimistic as you could be in a situation, which is at least he was not murdered. At least he did not die, like forcefully, right? But I don't know, bro. I'm not believing it at all. And I think a judge who his literal job was to make decisions for the last, 2 or 3 decades, I think that judge will be able to look at this and make a judgment call that's at least credible, right? Now, if you disagree with the judge, you like disagree. But this nonsense of any skepticism is uncredible, that's out the window.
So it's a lot of moving parts here. And I'm just hoping it's not one of those, quite frankly, and if his friends didn't have anything to do with it and they truly left him behind, etc., etc., he has discoloration, bruises on the back of his neck. Something happened. And quite frankly, this is Mississippi, where in 1955, which sparked the civil rights movement, Emmett Till was killed for so-called whistling at a white woman. And now we're hearing Nolan Wells stayed back to be with a white woman. And he turns up dead with bruises behind his neck. That's the context I'm putting this in. It's Emmett Till, perhaps, all over.
Wow, so you feel like the dynamics between Nolan Wells and Emmett Till is similar?
Well, the dynamics are the same. He's with a white woman, or allegedly said something with, or however you view it, with a white woman, and there's a suspicion that white men killed him. And that was the case with Emmett Till. He so-called whistled as a kid. 13 was he? Whistled so-called the woman at the store. White woman says he whistled at her. What happened? White men killed him. And that's why I'm making that analogy. But it could altogether be untrue. But I'm making the analogy as a possibility. And that is the case of my thought processes.
So it was actually bruises behind his neck?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, what else? Why is it only there in the back of your neck, which is coincidentally how you drown somebody? You put the head in the back of the neck and not let them up, and they try and push up, but you got the head down, so the head bruises in the back of the neck because somebody tried to hold it down or did hold it down.
Again, this is why you need a judge. Bro, I'm so like barbaric. I'm going for the knock him out with a club, throw him in the water. But no, the judge is saying, no, you would have bruises in the back of your neck because somebody had their hand on your neck and they pushed you in the water until you drowned.
Bro, no way is ad again.
For a young Native entrepreneur to thrive.
Come on. Come on. Come on. And here's the thing. They will say, what's the proof of this? What's the proof? Y'all just said it without proof. Okay. What is your explanation for everything then? Right? Since us who were not there, we're asked to provide undoubtable proof, even though all we literally have is theories because we were not present, right? So now let me ask you guys, okay, can you guys explain the bruises in the back of his neck? All right, cool. Can y'all explain the audio that y'all called fake until TMZ posted it, even though Chronicle Speaks and other independent creators posted that audio first? Okay, no, you can't explain that? Okay, cool. Can you explain why Warren said that Katie would back up their story, but then Katie said the last time she seen Nolan was when they was calling him over? Can you explain the contradiction between Katie and Warren's story? No? Okay. Well, damn. It looks like y'all don't have an explanation or an answer for none of the things that look bad when it comes to y'all argument, but somehow y'all want us to psychologically break down and show you guys. Listen, man. Because we weren't there, all we really have is context clues, and we got to piece it together. It's simple as that. But you guys are unwilling to engage with all the evidence that kind of shows this kid was murdered. Simple as that. Now, Judge Mathis also touched on the audio that got released. And here's what he had to say about the audio.
I did not know that existed. And if this is authentic radio transmission between the dispatcher and the caller, then certainly this turns it on its head. They're observing him injured, asking if he's dead. Whoever on that call, with the technology we have now, and with interviews amongst the folks who were there, or the phone that the emergency call came from, the dispatcher has that number. Someone can get it. Then you'll go to the person who made the call and say, what did you see? This is real easy if that is the case. So we'll see what they do with this evidence. The fact that there's some audio from the dispatcher where the person calling asks, or in the background, one or the other, asks, oh my God, is he dead? So that's a whole new level of evidence that I'm interested in seeing where they go with that. And perhaps that's what the prosecutor may have all of this information and say, we're not sharing it because we don't want to bias, we don't want to create bias, et cetera, in the case because in the media, and she may have that. She may have that and take it right to the grand jury. That's what I'm hoping, if they don't disclose it to the widespread media this week.
Here's why I don't believe that. Now, it's one thing if you say, hey, we're not going to share the thorough investigation we're doing that's going to bring answers to Nolan Wells' death. We're not going to share that with the public, but you're not going to share that with Nolan's mama? You're not going to share that with... I don't care if they have hired, like Benjamin Crumb. I don't care if they have hired other people to get involved. You should walk the mama through it step by step. Hey, mama, we got this intel, this intel. It's not until the audio got leaked and people began to put pressure on Ocean Springs that they released a tip to TMZ hey, we have evidence that people seen Nolan on the island in the afternoon after 5, or I think 6 p.m. they said. So TMZ reported, there's evidence Nolan was on the island at 6. And then you scroll down to the bottom of the article and the evidence is, oh yeah, there's 2 people said they see Nolan. Okay, well, we have Nolan friends who are doing interviews on TikTok, right, saying how they believe these people are guilty and they believe people were washing blood off the boat or out the boat, according to the friend, or she implied that, I should say, because she said they was washing out the boat, right? One of the friends says they seen some of the boys and at a breakfast, and the boys told her, well, why would we be looking for him? Y'all already expect us of killing him. That's before Nolan Wells' body was found. That's before the world knew he was dead, right? So if we can take the word of 2 people who quote unquote seen Nolan, even though again 2,000 people was on the island, y'all said 2 people quote unquote seen Nolan at around 6 p.m. Okay, then how did Nolan Wells disappear? Then how did he die?
Running an online brand? Yeah, it's a lot. Getting your domain on Wix Domains?
Okay, if y'all can take the words of those 2 people, then can we take the word of 2 of Nolan friends who are on TikTok accusing people in Ocean Springs of killing Nolan? Can we? Oh, yeah. So it's evidence if it's 2 random people, but it's not evidence if it's 2 of Nolan friends. You see how that works? You see how that'll make sense? And that's what we're talking about here, bro. Nothing about this makes sense whatsoever. If you guys have something, right, that paints a clear picture of how Nolan Wells died, shouldn't the mother be the first one y'all notify?
Yeah, I don't know how you can justify that audio.
Can't. Not with someone in the background saying, is he dead? Even if you were calling to say there was a fight, it sounds like you're looking at something that has already happened and you witnessed what happened and you're saying, did he die from what I just saw? That's what you're saying. Oh, is he dead? Or what? Somebody walked you from around the park and said, hey, or around the other boat dock and say, hey, come look at this. No, you were there. So if that video and audio is correct, it's a whole nother level of evidence that indicates culpability.
And just for clarity, what do you personally believe happened to Nolan Wills?
Well, what we're told is that he got on the boat with several white buddies in Mississippi, went to Fun Island, for lack of a better term, where everybody goes to this island to have fun on their boats. Overwhelmingly 90 to 100% white, 99.9 perhaps if you include Nolan. And his buddies say they left him there. He ends up dead. His buddies say we left him there and we told him to come, let's go. He refused to go. However, we had his phone. And you claim that everybody puts their phone away when they're on the island. And I don't believe that for 1 minute, that teenagers leave their phones for hours just because they're on the island.
No.
Then we have the young lady, Katie, who he allegedly stayed back to be with. Her sister says that they weren't spending a lot of time with Nolan and that they also left without Nolan, meaning they had seen Nolan go somewhere when they were leaving. Did y'all just shake, hug, and walk away, and then someone saw him and said, hey, let's get with him because he kissing and hugging on that white woman and we don't play that and don't want to play that? Or is it, as I think it is, that they had something to do with his drowning?
Which, by the way, will make sense with the bruises in the back of the head, because it could be this. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think, okay? So, he just provided something very crucial, because even if the lungs do come back waterlogged, it could very well be that. You push them in, and you hold them down until... this is just crucial, bro. This is terrible. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this, man. Pray for the family, bro. If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video.
Hey, man, I send my condolences, man. Yeah, I hope they find who did it. Hey, I'm gonna get what up with y'all boys, man. Hey.